Hey guys, welcome to the daily analysis for March 20th, getting close to 4 p.m. Eastern time here. And so we're looking at these daily bars just a little bit before they come to a close. And I think some decent trade potential. We talked about the USD CAD bullishness potential yesterday, kind of centered today and looking very much still bullish in my opinion. So we'll cover that in some more detail. And of course, all the other pairs as well. So that's what we'll do in this daily analysis. Just first covering our news and terms, and we'll get right back into the charts. Alright guys, so as far as news tomorrow, again, one of those days where there's a pretty good amount of news coming through. Because it's Thursday, it's the unemployment claims, which we know about. But you can see 4:30, 5:30, 7, 8:30, 9 a.m., 10 a.m. A good amount of news coming through tomorrow for some different currencies. Euro, pound, Canadian, and US dollar are the four currencies that'll be hit in the morning time. And so, of course, those are four of the major currencies, and you'll want to pay attention to how the market reacts to those. We can see a lot of dynamics changing depending on if there's big deviations in those different major currencies. And so tomorrow will be a day that you don't want to ignore the news, specifically that unemployment claims announcement for the US dollar, and then followed up at 10 a.m. with more red tag for the dollar. So Thursday's typically a day that the dollar can move quite a bit with some deviation there. So paying attention to that would be a wise idea, especially if you're in those trades. Want to see what the market's doing and what those numbers come out to be. Either a supportive number to a trade that you already had that can either push price into your target, or potentially, of course, something that rejects price and pushes it against you. So the news can really have a major effect on your open position. So that's why it's important to take note and have a plan for that ahead of time. And so we go over the news just for that reason. Alright guys, then just to quickly cover our terms. The idea here is that the daily analysis is for educational purposes only, and that we have it to teach you what we're thinking about the market, not to tell you what to do with your money. Anything you do with your money is still completely and totally up to you. Alright, so if you need to pause and read through all that, please take the time to do so and understand it. I think it's important that you understand what the daily analysis is all about so that you can get the best from it. Okay, so again, this USD CAD, a pretty classic move here where we come up, pull back, and look to continue upward. United States dollar had a weak period here, but is looking to build some more strength, as you can see, against the Canadian. And so I'm still quite bullish on this. I think that we had a nice centering today here, which could lead to a bounce up toward this level. This is a pretty strong level horizontally here, and also the very slight trend. So either one of those areas is an area that could pull price into it. I kind of have this little line as the slope that was this downtrend was on that's been broken. So I think that adds some confirmation to this morning to move up. And so to me, this is a pretty good bullish setup. We'll see if price will then continue. We've had the break. It pulled back. It tested this level again, and now all we need is a continuation, and it looks like price wants to do that, kind of battling toward the end of the day now to move up a little bit. And so we'll keep a close eye on that to see if we get that continuation. And of course, my target as far as a longer term perspective would be right up here in the 1032 area. Alright, euro dollar, similar situation here where we're just kind of bouncing near this zone. We kind of have this channel here now that's forming. Before it was this channel, or even this wedge, however you want to draw it, where the market was moving tight. Now we're stepping down a little bit, and we're in this channel at this level. So we were right below this level, now we're right on top of this level. Either way, the point being that the euro is really not moving a lot. We're still kind of keeping this bottom track here consistently. So this has not really remained consistent because price has not come up to test this. But the bottom level here has remained consistent. And so what I'm looking for is a steeper break of that, or move all the way up to this next level. So it could be a while before I think that the euro dollar really has some longer term trade potential. But I'm willing to wait. I think the euro dollar really eventually always pulls out and makes a good move. It might settle for a while, but then eventually you get these really nice moves on the euro dollar, and they're worth waiting on. And so that's my plan on this euro dollar. Again, what I'm really tracking is this bottom slope here, because that's been pretty consistent. And so if we get a break, like a steeper break, a retest, and then a continuation, this zone, of course, is a nice zone to target. And I think that will be a high probability trade opportunity. It's just a matter of getting that break and if not, getting the break to the upside. So just another pair, I say this a lot, but just another pair where you got to wait for a good setup on and then take advantage when it occurs. I know that, as traders, we always just want to jump into the market, want 1,000 trade opportunities. But for most trading systems, profitability is found in lesser, consistent, high probability trades. and waiting for your time, waiting for the trade to come to you, rather than just jumping in at every type of price movement. So the euro dollar is an example of one where you have to do that. And again, I think that we'll get a good move and it'll be worth the wait. Okay, pound dollar is interesting. We had a lot of wacky movement if you were watching it today. I kind of had this base drawn and this as the top area. And what I thought was that we were going to get a move here. It was going to flatten out here. We're going to get a move here and come back and test this area. I'm still not convinced that we're not going to do that. But what happened is I was watching this level. It kind of fake broke out of the bottom and then moved really with a lot of momentum back to the upside. And I actually jumped in long earlier today, bought the pound up here, and targeted this area and really got crushed quickly on that pound, unfortunately. So that was a quick losing trade for me. Hopefully if you were watching the pound, you didn't get tempted into jumping in like I did and lose on that trade. But my goal, of course, was that I thought people already got faked out going to the bottom, and the real break was back to the top, because that's what my sentiment was anyway, thinking that it wanted to come back to 152.70, and so I took that as a long trade and got beat up pretty quick on that one. So I still think that's potential. Really, I'm not giving up on the idea that that could break. This little wedge that we have here, or channel, however you want to think about it, could still very easily break up and head toward that area. But obviously today was not the day. So like the euro, we might get the good trade, but it's going to take some more patience. I thought it happened today, but certainly I was wrong on that, and I have a losing trade to show for it. Alright, speaking of boring markets and waiting for trades, odd is still in the same little wedge or channel here, depending on, again, how you draw, whether you use horizontal lines or wedge lines. We're in a strong move up. It looks like there's an obvious area up here where price wants to go to, but we have not got the continuation yet. If you're still along from down here, you might be holding it and waiting for the continuation. If you're not in the trade yet, then you're probably not jumping in now, because there's not really a good setup. But this is one where it looks like it might very well just be a matter of time before we get that continuation. If not, if it breaks to the downside, then you still have a good area to target down here. But I think with the recent momentum going up, this could be a great break to the upside. And so again, even though it's sideways, some trade potential there that I think could be taken advantage of. Alright guys, yet another boring pair. Unfortunately, man, this analysis is probably not the most exciting, but hopefully you are willing to be patient and look for these future trade opportunities, because they're not setting up right now. This euro pound just sitting right below this level has not really shown any type of direction that it wants to move down and break lower. If it wants to break back in, we're just not getting clear direction, or really we're not getting good movement on any of these pairs across the board. Everything is kind of stagnant and staying close in terms of strength. So you're not getting one currency that's super strong and one that's super weak. For the most part, they're very equal, and so they're kind of just struggling back and forth. And unfortunately, that means very little trade potential. Now, one pair that did move a little bit, and I'll end with this one on a good note, is this US yen. So we talked about the potential bouncing up from this zone, having this as a target area. This is moving nicely. Now, if it breaks through this level, this black line, and sets up again, it could be a really nice long-term long, maybe heading up toward 100, and that's a popular target for people to talk about. So there's that potential. And then, of course, if price struggles here and heads down, then we have the reversal potential back into this zone. So the US yen, it could be a trade for you now. If you got in on the movement heading up toward this area, if you did, great job. It's definitely a good trade. Or if you're waiting and we still get continued movement on this US yen, because it's been moving okay, there should be a trade potential in this area, whether that's a break or a bounce or whatever it is. Could be a good trade potential there. So at least the US yen moving a little bit, and hopefully some of you are already long on that. I'm not. I know I talked about that trade, but I missed the trade, so unfortunately I'm not in with positive pips right now. All I did was lose a trade today, but hey, that's what happens sometimes. And so I'll look to get that on the next one. And right now, I think the US yen, at least the yen pairs, are providing a little better movement than most of the other currencies. Hopefully we'll break out of that at the end of this week or next week and get into some more deliberately moving markets. But for right now, it's pretty much a patience game across the board. Again, the yen's moving okay, but for the most part, pretty patient game. And hopefully that USD CAD also will provide a little more consistent movement. It made a pretty nice move yesterday. We'll see how the follow-up is tomorrow and Friday. But that's about it, guys. Hopefully, you're watching these markets and you're not, getting beat up in any of the whipsaw. If you're smaller time frame traders, might be having a little better luck than the people like me. But we'll wait for our better market conditions and look to take advantage of it. I'm someone who really believes that the market's always going to provide that profit potential. You just gotta wait and catch it and not get stuck just taking a trade for the heck of it. You gotta wait for a good trade to come to you and take advantage of that. And I think when you do that and you master that, it's a big part of being successful and being consistent. Alright guys, thanks for watching the analysis. Comments and questions are welcome below, and if you want to share it or tweet it on Twitter, I'd greatly appreciate it. Talk to you guys soon.